Hi there, welcome to Island Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Sagittarius. I accidentally deleted your video, so there must be a different message that wants to come out. So we will go ahead and do this 10-card spread, and then we'll kind of read it from a couple different perspectives, because everybody could know different people in the world, and some of those people are kind of still more immature. And, you know, Sagittarius is about higher learning and education. And some people have learned some lessons in life that some other people haven't. And they're still on a journey of learning those lessons. So it's really interesting. The cards are kind of flipping differently. Like one will come out, but one will be flipped, not showing itself. And so that's kind of interesting. Which I don't recall any readings with the cards doing that recently. So, okay. Sagittarius is fire sign energy. It can either be, it can affect all of us. Could this be something particularly going on in the lives that people deal with that are a Sagittarius sun sign or have significant Sagittarius placements in their chart? Yes. But to a degree, we all tap into Sagittarius energy. So in a way, it can affect us all in how we harness our Sagittarius energy. Are we motivated and inspired to heal and grow and mature ourselves and learn lessons in life? Or do we kind of keep being more focused on not wanting to do that, or kind of indulging ourselves, or being more about the world or ego or image or ourself? And so listen to your intuition about where you might be in the story. Listen to your intuition about other people, because the truth is people are at different places in life. They view life differently. Their truth is different. What drives and motivates them is different. We have free will. And some people will maybe always be more about themselves or the world or their ego or their defensiveness or their immature nature. And they're just looking for someone who will indulge them being that way. And if that's not you, and that's not your truth, and that's not what motivates and inspires you and what you want to move forward with, it's just seeing the truth of it. And we all have to get out of our ego about it and accept that not everybody's truth is the same. And to keep believing in ourselves and believing in our dreams. So I look at this card as the overarching reason for the reading, which isn't showing itself, which is the Three of Cups, which is Cancer energy, which has to do with self-love and love of others. And some people, regardless of what zodiac sun sign they are, in how they connect in with their more Cancer energy, for some it's more shadowy. I kind of use my emotions as I need to, but I kind of use them superficially to try to emotionally manipulate people to get them to do what I want. Or they're just kind of immature. And other people really are operating from a foundation of love. And, that's operating from different foundations. And then at the end of the story, we have the Queen of Swords. Some people are going to defend wanting to repeat an old pattern, not wanting to look at life differently, not wanting to step out of their comfort zone. So they're defensive to this card, which isn't showing itself, which is the Hangman, which can talk about being enlightened to the truth. The truth sets us free to become independent of things that manipulate us. And underneath that is the Ten of Swords. I don't want to do that, because then I view the Queen of Wands as Leo energy, which can represent our ego. Some people don't want to put an end to operating more from their ego. If that's their fear, their insecurity, their pride, their ego, their defensive nature, being full of themselves, indulging themselves, they don't want to be more creative and inspired in their life. Maybe don't want to do a more authentic, deep, meaningful relationship. That's high vibe Leo, high vibe Cancer, high vibe Sagittarius. And some people don't want to do that. That's out of their comfort zone. And some people do. So with these two cards not showing themselves, that can talk about the fact that we can all know different people in our life, and we could have known some people. Some people we could have definitely already cut out of our life because we realized our truth was different. But then we are always meeting new people, right? And we have people in our community, in our neighborhoods and workplaces and stuff. And we don't know if they harness this energy in a more high vibe way or a more shadowy way. And you don't know that about them, and they don't know that about you. And the Lover's card is Gemini energy, like the Ten of Swords, that talks about our free will nature. We have the free will to love whatever we want to love. I don't want to do love. I am defensive to love. I like to operate more from my pride and ego. I like to indulge myself in relationships and workplaces and friendships, but I really, you could say, kind of like more superficial and shallow, or where I really don't have to put in work and effort. And other people are the opposite. They are motivated and inspired by love, and they like to overcome their fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs to not and make the free will choice not to operate from their more defensive nature, immature nature, egoic nature, defensive nature, right? And then we have this card not showing itself, which is the Page of Wands. We're either hiding, that we're either still more inspired by ourselves and the world and these things of the world that we want to make our life about or indulge in, which could even just be us indulging our more immature nature, or we've kind of seen through the illusion that if I keep indulging my more immature nature and indulging more immature people in my life, my dreams aren't going to come into reality, which is the Queen of Swords is Aquarius energy. I have a dream. I've got to get out of my ego. If I don't want to keep staying stuck in the Hangman, I have got to look at life differently. I have got to... High vibe Sagittarius is like wrapping your brain around this game of life. And I need to expand my perception of myself and how I view myself, how I view the world. I need to deal with the truth. Not everybody is motivated by love, and some people are just where they're at. And I need to accept the truth of it and get out of my ego about it. And the pages can also represent that we were a more codependent energy. And we can all be a more codependent energy, looking for people to love us and validate our worth and value. And then we can get relationships with people who are happy that we are a more codependent energy, that we don't listen more to our intuition and love and believe in ourselves. And we'll stay stuck in jobs, friendships, and relationships with them. And some high vibe people offered themselves love to get balance within themselves in the Justice card. I have to see the truth. I don't want to repeat this pattern. And other people want to keep repeating a certain pattern because they view that as just and fair. If I'm more about myself, if I don't want to take more creative, inspired action, if I don't want to look at life any differently than I look at it, I want to keep moving forward exactly the way I've been moving forward. And they want other people to keep moving forward with them in that way. Kind of backstab your more creative, inspired, authentic nature to settle for a more worldly justice. That's what shadowy Hierophant can represent in Taurus energy. Taurus represents our philosophy of life. And we all got into things and lived our life certain ways because that's how we viewed life. That was the age we were at. It was our emotional maturity level. We all had whatever level of fears or insecurities or confidence or whatever that we had. And we made decisions in our life that we thought were just and fair. And kind of, to a degree, were they just and fair? Yeah, because that's where we were at. And there's other people kind of making some of those same decisions we made at different times in our life. Is it just and fair for them to live their life that way? Yeah, that's where they're at. You know? Kind of like when we know better, we do better. But until we know better, we're going to keep doing what we think is just and fair. And some people love the world, and Taurus and Libra energy can talk about I like it to be more about me, or I'm more about the ego or the image or the status and the money or the materialism. That's the most important thing. Or that's what drives and motivates me. Or I'm going to conform to the world. I'm not going to listen to my intuition. I'm not going to look at life differently. I'm going to make my life and do what everyone else is doing, or like my parents did it, or the people in my friendship group, or the people in my community, or my state, or my country. High vibe people in high vibe Taurus, high vibe Libra, is that I adhere to a higher truth and justice, and it's supposed to be about love. And it's supposed to be about acting with character and integrity. And love is supposed to be that you treat other people the way you like to be treated, but for some people, that's not their truth. Well, no, I think I should be able to manipulate you or control you. Some people think because they have a certain status or image, or they're your employer or something, they should be able to be bossy and controlling or prideful or egotistical or hurtful or unkind because they think they have these things of the world that you want. And that's a shadowy Taurus relationship. Because I have these things of the world that you want, that makes me more important than you. And I don't have to treat you with respect. I don't have to treat you in a just and fair way. And some people leave some jobs and friendships and relationships with people who think that way. And then we have a card here not showing itself, the Four of Wands. In high vibe, I kind of view the Four of Wands as firing on all four cylinders. Your heart, your mind, your 3D world, your creative, inspired, passionate nature, and that you're inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness and character and integrity. But some people reject that, and they don't even... Aries energy of the Four of Wands is about the self. Some people reject loving themselves and their own hopeful, believing inner child nature of the Page of Wands. Maybe because some people grew up in families or communities or states or countries where people discourage that. You don't listen to your intuition. You don't adhere to a higher truth or justice. You do what we do, or you live life the way we live it. Sometimes people can even have friends or family members that live their life a certain way. Maybe make their life more about conforming to the world or more for the ego and image. And then they tell the people in their life and in their friendship group, you shouldn't listen to your intuition. You shouldn't be more bold and brave. You should do life like we do it. Because we all have our dualistic nature, our more worldly, shadowy, immature, prideful, lazy, whatever, self-indulgent nature. And we have our more hopeful, believing nature. And then we can have different people in our life who kind of represent those traits and characteristics. Which people in our free will are we going to work together with? The people who other people might not understand, with these cards not showing themselves, why some people want to be in a relationship with certain people. You might, so say someone comes from a family or a group or a way of living life where they don't kind of take that more hopeful, believing, crave, inspired action in their life. There might be someone in their life that they'd like to be in a relationship with, and some other people maybe can't understand it. Well, that person doesn't have a certain image or status. Why would you want to be in a relationship with them? Or they're different than us. And it could be because the high vibe people in their life do, in high vibe fire sign energy, inspire them to kind of love and believe in themselves. And the other people kind of like, it's like, well, let's do this and let's do that and let's hang out. Let's make our life about this. But it could feel like it lacks being more creative and inspiring, and it could feel like it is kind of more superficial and shallow, that it is more about the ego or the image or something, but not really love. And some high vibe people have been in relationships with people who they didn't realize weren't as inspired to. The Eight of Cups walks away from an old way of living life and viewing life to become independent of it. I lived my life as a 15-year-old. I'm done living like a 15-year-old, for example. I'm going to move forward and face my fears, get out of my ego, quit staying stuck. In the Magician and the Ace of Wands, I am inspired to love and believe in myself. I'm going to quit being like a 15-year-old. And I am going to look to the future and believe in myself and believe in my dreams. And as they do that, does everything that we go invest in work out? Like, I'm going to leave this job to go get another job. Well, maybe the next job doesn't work out. I'm going to quit doing this and I'm going to go do that. I'm going to quit hanging out with these people. I'm going to go hang out with those people. We can have the best of intention. There's no guarantee that what we go pursue is going to work out the way we wanted. And the Queen of Swords can represent that we were disappointed and we felt betrayed. So, since I haven't said it already, the feminine figures can talk about how we think and feel. The masculine cards can represent how we're presenting ourselves in the world. Because we can all go present ourselves in the world any way we want. But how do we really think and feel? So, some people already did this before, and things didn't work out the way they wanted. They felt betrayed, they felt stuck, they felt backstabbed. Well, not everything we go pursue is going to work out the way we want. Sometimes some people we would like to be in a relationship with don't want to really be in a relationship with us. Or we kind of find out they're kind of shadowy or manipulative or more bold and brave and confident than we thought. We're kind of looking for people who are kind of on the same page as us at the same time, right? Well, do we keep staying in our ego about it? Or do we offer love to ourselves to get balanced within ourselves and love ourselves to keep believing in ourselves and believing in our dreams? Taurus is Earth sign energy. Do we put work and effort into kind of dealing with the truth and taking the lessons that we learned from that life experience, that I'm not going to give up on my dreams just because something or someone or what I went pursued didn't work out? That would be like someone who's like, well, I went and got my first job and those people were unkind or unjust or, we're dealing with other fallible human beings. Not in a world of duality. There's some people who create a little hell on earth because that's the kind of people they are. And they align with more shadowy energy, bossy, controlling, prideful, egotistical, self-centered, petty, arrogant, whatever, right? But in a world of duality, there's other people in the world that are trying to create a little heaven on earth. Some people gave up on their dreams just because, well, some people could have been awful and atrocious, but generally, there's just ugly kind of people in the world. And then it's kind of like they're no longer willing to listen to their intuition. Well, that didn't work out. I listened to my intuition before, and it didn't work out the way I wanted. Well, the whole thing is, in Sagittarius energy, we are drawn and attracted to certain people because we have some lessons to learn from them, good and bad. We can be attracted to some people that are more bold, brave, confident, balanced, just, fair, motivated, and inspired, and that's not where we're at. And it could be they don't stay in a relationship with us because that's not where we're at. But we can still put in work to maybe aspire to be that type of person, right? But the whole thing is, we have to be willing to deal with the truth. Where do I need to heal and grow and mature myself? Where did some of the people I was in a relationship need to heal and grow and mature themselves? And some people don't want to deal with the truth. Because some people do think it's just and fair. I like being in relationships. It's good for my ego and my image and my status. I want to indulge in a relationship. But I don't really want to do love. I get hurt doing love. So I'll create the illusion that I'm motivated and inspired by love so people will have new beginnings with me and move forward with me in a relationship. But in shadow, the 8 of Cups going to the 9 of Cups is like, I want to kind of indulge myself in a relationship, still being defensive to looking at life any differently. So shadowy people have a way of viewing life and living life. That's their truth. That's how they want to live it. And then they don't ever want to give birth to anything new. They don't ever want to step out of their comfort zone. They don't want to look at life any differently or from any other perspective or anyone else's perspective. They're happy living their life the way they live it. And then they want other people they get in a relationship with. Well, you don't listen to your intuition either. And you don't love yourself. And you don't believe in your dreams. Settle for this dream. Well, if you're going to get in relationships with other people, we all have our dreams. We all have our idea of what we thought, of how we envision things moving forward and what we thought, and it's supposed to be, again, that it's supposed to be just and fair. And you're supposed to act with character and integrity. And if you're in a romantic relationship, it's supposed to be from love. But there could be some people who do live more from their mind and their heart and could be in their more self-protective, self-defensive way of viewing life, or this makes logical, practical sense. Life's about getting in these relationships or having these jobs, and it's all, isn't that what everybody's doing? Isn't everybody getting in these jobs and in these relationships to have a certain status and image and make it look like they have manifested an emotionally fulfilling life, that they look like a shining star in the world? Is that it? Is that it? That's it? Just that. What if you get in a career field you kind of find out you don't like, but it might have a lot of status, ego, and image? Oh my God, but I hate this job. Are we going to keep staying in it? Is that the most important thing? Some people would. Other people are like, oh my God, I can't stand this. Out of love for myself, I got to figure out something. I got to figure out how my skills and my traits and my characteristics or my knowledge or my education can be applied somewhere else, or just go find a different job and not stay at this job, or get in a different friendship group or relationship, not this friendship group and this relationship. But it is kind of interesting that the 2 fire signs were not showing themselves here, and then some people rejecting is like the 10 of Swords, like no, and headed towards another fire sign. And the way I interpret that is that in our being more inspired by our worldly nature, ourself, these things of the world, that is some people's truth. There is no other truth, though that is the most important thing, or they are the most important thing, and it's all more about them. And other people kind of got out of their ego and their more immature nature, and that it has to just be more about me. And those people kind of grew up and matured themselves. They also could have status, image, attractive, charming, social clout, whatever. But they really are who they say they are. They're not, anybody can go present themselves again like, oh, I'm this stable, grounded, emotionally mature, loving person. You should want to hire me for a job. You should want to date me. You should want to marry me. But they lack kind of that's high vibe fire sign energy. Otherwise, it's a more self-worldly focused fire sign energy of self. And other people kind of got out of being more manipulated by the world. The Eight of Cups walks away from the Seven of Cups, which can be being caught up in the illusion of the world, or these things we want to go indulge in to make ourselves feel better, or these things we make our life about that we think defines our worth and value. And other people saw through the illusion. I felt like when I made my life more about those things, I got in relationships and friendships and stayed in certain jobs more because of the illusion it created, the magician, about what kind of person I was and how worthy I was, or how much status or social clout or money or whatever I had. But I could have found it confusing and kind of wasn't something I loved, and I could have felt emotionally manipulated by some of the people I was in relationships with. And I kind of offered myself that cup of love to quit being manipulated more by the illusion and my own fears and my own insecurities and my own self-limiting beliefs and my own defensiveness to loving and believing in myself and listening to my intuition. And I view high vibe Leo, also represented by the sun. I can stay in more codependent energy and get in relationships with people who are happy. I'm in more codependent energy. Yay! Come move forward with me. Let's go move forward, indulging ourselves in a relationship because we're defensive. Kind of being high vibe energy is being more independent. Independent of our fears and our insecurities, our self-limiting beliefs, our more immature, self-indulgent, lustful, greedy, defensive, prideful nature. And some other people, we've all been there. You know, we all grew up in families where we were kind of looking to other people to make us provide stability and security in our life, to be emotionally nurturing to us. And some people never learned how to do that within themselves. And so they're always looking for someone else to play that role in their life. So they keep being in more codependent energy, even though they might have, in a lot of ways, look very victorious and successful in the world and in their career or whatever, but they're still like, they haven't worked through and seen the truth that they hold the key, but they keep looking outside of themselves to other people or the world at large, kind of is kind of what Taurus energy can represent, all these institutions of the world to validate their worth and value, or if I have these things, or if I'm in a relationship, that says something about my worth and value. But they really haven't learned to love themselves. And high vibe Leo, represented by the sun, is instead of being in more codependent energy where you can feel stuck in some relationships because of your fear of loving and believing in yourself, the high vibe people went through that. They were offering love and encouragement. Let's all work through some of our fears and our insecurities, our ego, to move forward together and be more independent and look at life differently and see the truth of how our own fear, insecurity, the world, our ego, other people in our life kind of try to manipulate and control us to make us conform more to the world or how they live their life. How about we go live our more authentic life? And that's like high vibe fire sign energy. I'm going to harness the highest vibrational energy there is. High vibe Leo, the sun. I'm going to go out in the world and I'm going to go treat people the way I like to be treated. High vibe Gemini, high vibe Cancer, high vibe fire sign, high vibe Libra, Virgo, Pisces. I'm going to go out in the world and I'm going to treat other people the way I like to be treated in a just and fair way. And they have the free will for them to decide how they want to respond. And for some people, that's really frightening. Well, what if they don't like me? What if, aren't I supposed to try to be a people pleaser and act a certain way and act like them or whatever? It's like they're living their authentic life, possibly. Why can't you live your authentic life? And high vibe energy is I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I'm not being arrogant. I'm not being bossy or controlling. I just want a just and fair and authentic and loving relationship where people treat each other in a just and fair manner and act with character and integrity to be loving and encouraging and supportive for everyone to move forward. Well, there's going to definitely be some people who don't like that. As some people are doing that in their life and they're moving forward, oh yeah, there's other people in the world who don't like that. Well, why aren't you operating from your ego? Why aren't you stuck and doing all these things that I'm doing? Why aren't you acting a certain way? Why aren't you trying to people please people? Why aren't you trying to conform more to the world? And some high vibe people said, because it can kind of be, who are the people who don't want things to change the most? The people who are benefiting from it, the system kind of being the way it is. It works for them. They're good. And then they want other people, well, you're supposed to play the game. If I have a certain status or image or social clout or whatever, you're supposed to want to indulge me more. I don't like that you just treat me in a just and fair way and don't seem to be bothered. You're supposed to be bothered that maybe I might be defensive to you, or I might be kind of whatever, shadowy in some way. I was like, well, I treat you the way I like to be treated. If I see that I think you're trying to manipulate me or want to be kind of more indulged in a relationship or kind of defensive or arrogant or something, I just kind of see the truth of it and I let you be, and I go find people in the world who I don't think are like that, who seem to be enlightened to the truth. Well, they definitely don't like that, because who the hell do you think you are? It's like, so I guess you could look at it that there's some people who could maybe think because they have a certain status or image or look a certain way or have a certain social clout or position that you should want to try to ingratiate yourself to them. I think that's the word. I'm not sure. But appease them would be the other word I could think of. That's like shadowy Libra that anyone can harness. We're trying to be a people pleaser. And it's like, I'm just going to treat people the way I like to be treated. If they're open to working together with me that way, great. If not, okay. And then they cannot like it because you didn't kind of buy into the illusion that they were trying to create or the illusion they have about themselves, and you're supposed to be caught up in the illusion of them or this type of social interaction. But you seem to be illuminated to the truth. And you're not playing the game, and then they don't even know what to do with you. Sometimes you can get in a relationship with people, you can both be more codependent. Everybody had some lessons to learn. When one person works through some of the issues that manipulated them, and they become independent of some of those things that used to manipulate them, they had a certain way of viewing life and living life here. But when they did some inner work to free themselves from past pain, heartbreak, fears, insecurities, self-limiting beliefs, something, expand their perception of how they view themselves and the world around them, they did look at life differently. And that's also then when some people become defensive to you because you're not the same person you were when you initially became friends, or when you started working somewhere, or when you got in a relationship with someone. And they have their way, and they maybe aren't inspired to want to work through whatever it is that manipulates them. The truth sets us free, and some people don't want to deal with the truth because that does, in the Magician card, which is Gemini and Virgo. Virgo's also earth sign energy. You'd have to put work and effort to love yourself, to look at life from a higher perspective, maybe put things in perspective than getting all caught up in your head about all these different things. Keep things in perspective in order to kind of maybe either see things from other people's perspective or expand your own perception of how you typically view yourself or the world or others, or what you think is just and fair in a workplace or a relationship. And they have the free will to say, I don't want to look at life differently. I want to keep doing this. But then they can be mad. It's just like an employer. Say you work for an employer who is just kind of manipulative or immature. Well, they get mad when other people see the truth and leave. It's kind of bad for their ego and image, because eventually people might start to wonder, maybe we should get rid of you so we don't have all these employees leaving, right? So right now there could be some people that are in a relationship. They're hiding, that they're kind of immature, a little bit more about themselves, not really motivated and inspired by love, but trying to create the illusion they are so other people will keep moving forward with them. And, some of those people will move forward with them because that can be their truth also. Would this look like I have justice and fairness in the world? Would this provide me stability or security and look like I have moved on, I've healed, I've grown, I've matured, I'm maybe not the same person I used to be? Well, yeah, if that's the goal, they might be willing to stay in it too. If they're not inspired to look at life or think there is any higher truth or justice to aspire to in the world, and we live in the world says make your life about this, that's what I'm going to make my life about. That is the only game in town. And that, the most important thing, is to look like a shining star in the world. Well, then they're going to have people who are willing to move forward with them. And some of them might be trying to get someone to move forward with them in a relationship like that. High vibe people can be in friendships and relationships with people where they've detached from being manipulated by their more immature nature of self and the world and the ego and the image. Do they put in work and effort to have balance in their life, have stability and security in their life? Yeah, because we all like to have those things in our life. But high vibe energy is about having a balance, and Libra, justice, is represented by the scales of justice. Do I want some of these things in the world? Yes. Am I going to sacrifice living my more authentic life and my truth and being in jobs and friendships and relationships that are creative and inspiring and loving? Am I going to sacrifice that just for these things in the world? No. No, I believe there is more to this world than just those things. I want a balance. For some people, enough is never enough. I want more attention. I want more power. I want more influence. I want more indulgence. I want more of those things that I indulge in that make it seem like I'm living the dream. I want it to be more about me. I want to look more victorious, more successful. And to some people, some people are like social climbers, But they were hiding that they just kind of manipulate people for their own purposes. And it's really not about love for some of them. Other people have seen the truth of it. They've moved away from those types of people. Right now, some of them could feel stuck. But they know they don't want to be manipulated anymore. Done being in their ego. And then they do this work within themselves. And they put in the work and effort to believe in themselves and believe in their dreams, and they get inspired to do this work to love themselves, to quit being manipulated. And from the Three of Cups to the Eight of Cups is the Five of Cups, which can be letting go of the regrets of the past, because kind of seeing the truth that my dream can't come into reality with someone who isn't motivated and inspired more by truth and love and justice and fairness. If their truth is they're more prideful or materialistic or defensive or immature, my dream couldn't come into reality with them anyway. So I offer myself that cup of love to work through those regrets of the past and look to the future. And then from the 3 going to the 9, because if we add that cup of love to the 8, we get the 9, is being independent of it. And also being balanced within myself. From the 3 going to the 9 is taking back the 6 of Cups. There's some people in my life that I'm not going to keep exchanging time, energy, effort, and emotionally with, because I could feel they are more superficial and shallow, or hurtful or unkind or manipulative or bossy or controlling or whatever. And I kind of reconciled myself with that truth, and I've come to a place of peace about it. And that's how those people are able to move forward, because they were able to get out of their ego about it. I was willing to deal with the truth. I saw where I needed to heal and grow and mature myself. I saw where they maybe needed to heal and grow and mature myself. Everybody had free will to have more hope and faith and belief in themselves, in others, in love. And some people don't. And I accept the truth of it. You can be a perfectly lovely, stable, grounded, emotionally mature, loving, nurturing person, and there's going to be some people who are going to want to backstab you because you are. Shadowy energy, shadowy Leo, is competitive energy, petty energy. Some people who like to view themselves as having, like, they're this pillar of society who walks the talk, and they're this just and fair and supportive and encouraging and loving person. In a lot of ways they might be. But then if they have someone come into their environment that really is more authentically that, it's not more to present themselves that way, but they really are. It's just naturally who they are. They're a giving, loving, nurturing, supportive, encouraging person, not creating the illusion they're that type of person, operating more from their ego, really from love, because they wanted people to view them a certain way. And then they can have someone come into the environment that really is that way, and it kind of gets them in their ego, because then maybe they'd have to admit the truth that they kind of present themselves as being that type of person. And again, in a lot of ways, they can be, but it's more of a mental construct for people to work together with them and for people to view them a certain way. It's not like authentically the truth of who they are. And then that can really bother them. And instead of dealing with the truth of it, let's just get rid of those people, and then we can all hang out again and live in our illusion and keep moving forward in our illusion that we are these type of people. But if anybody comes around who really is that type of person, yeah, eventually we're going to kind of backstab and betray them. And kind of out of that, shadowy energy can want to feel powerful. I have more status, ego, image, social clout than you. Whatever, right? You might be a very loving, nurturing, supportive, encouraging person, but you might not have, they could think, these things in your life. And I'm going to backstab you just to prove a point, because if you wanted, it's kind of like the teacher having to become the student. If you get in a relationship with someone and you work through some of your issues and you're ready to move forward in life differently, And then you're offering them love and encouragement to do that. Also, how dare you? I have a certain image and status. I don't have anything I need to learn. Okay. And then they can stubbornly, pridefully backstab you, not move forward with you. How dare you imply that they would benefit from maybe looking at life a little differently just to prove a point. And some of those people thought they were going to keep moving forward, could manipulate people about the truth, still create this illusion they're this just and fair pillar of society who's loving, when really they didn't like that someone else, just by the way they were, kind of challenged them in their perspective of life. And so that's where some people can just go get in a different job or relationship with people to try to prove the point that those other people didn't know what they were talking about. And maybe also hoping that you would feel betrayed and backstabbed and stuck while they went and created their illusion. But for some of those people, it didn't work out that way, because you did love and believe in yourself, and you weren't going to let hurtful, unkind, unjust, unfair people make you quit believing in yourself and believing in your dreams. You worked 3 major arcana cards. You worked with, and 4, you worked with the divine. And that's what they didn't realize about you. That unlike them, you do have that more hopeful, believing spirit. And you do connect in with your heart, your mind, your passionate nature, your 3D nature, and operate from a foundation of love, not ego. And because of that, I'm working with high vibe energy of hope and faith and belief and love, that there's more to work with in this world than just these things of the world. That's tapping into potential that, because it's kind of like the big picture. God represents high vibe energy. Shadowy energy kind of represents the devil, which doesn't want us to give birth to new things, which can also be like our own fears and insecurities. But if in our free will we choose to align with our more hopeful, believing nature, and we put in the work and effort to listen to our intuition, believe in our dreams, and you are also didn't stay confused, you were enlightened to the truth that these people aren't who they say they are. At one time you could have thought and viewed them as these just and fair people, and then you realized they weren't. And it didn't have anything to do with your worth and value. You offered people truth and love. You can take what you have and move forward in life, and they're going to take what they have and use those same things the way they've probably been using them. And they're going to see how that works out for them, and you're going to see how yours work out for you. They're going to keep staying stuck because they're unwilling to look at life. So because they're unwilling to be illuminated to the truth, they keep repeating this old pattern. And you set yourself free because you did learn the lesson you were meant to learn, and now you're independent of them, and you're manifesting something new. You completed a cycle, is what the 10s can talk about, and you're having this new beginning and kind of looking like a shining star in the process. So what's coming up? You're working with people and investing your time, energy, and effort into people in your life who are loving and encouraging and authentic and supportive in workplaces, in communities, in the world, treating other people the way you like to be treated, and those people are treating people the way they keep treating people. What's coming up that people you might not see coming? The 9 of Pentacles. Why? Because of the 2 of Wands. Because you had a dream, you got out of your ego about the fact that one dream that you kind of wanted to manifest didn't work out the way you wanted. Okay. You know, we in our ego, we can sit here saying, God, make this work. God, make that work. God, 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 change them. And God's like, they have free will. They can do whatever they want. You can stay in your ego about it, or you can accept the truth and believe that I have another plan for your life. And you become independent of it. And they're still in it because they just don't look at life differently, maybe. And they're maybe not more bold and brave and confident to step out of their comfort zone or quit letting their ego nature or other people in their life, could just be friends and family members, could be just a more worldly viewpoint keeps manipulating them. And you've become independent of it, adhering to a higher truth and justice. This is unjust, this is unfair, people are being manipulative or stubborn or prideful, hurtful, unkind, defensive. I wish you peace. You keep doing that if you want, and I'm becoming independent of you. Because in your fire sign energy, you believed in your dreams and you took action to manifest those into reality. And you're looking very stable and abundant. And I think as you're doing that, there would be other people in the world who see that you're not more prideful, egotistical, manipulative, not wanting to get in friendships and relationships and workplaces to just try to manipulate or control people or get what you can get out of it. You know your worth and value, and you want to be in these more just and fair and authentic and loving relationships. And there's other people who see the truth of it, who decide to become independent of the illusions of things that manipulated them, to move forward with you. Get out of their pride and ego about whatever had them in their pride and ego, or that used to appeal more to their pride and ego, because they've been illuminated to the truth, like you. And those people are going to want to manifest with you and move forward, turn their back on this old way of viewing life or workplace conduct or relationships, to move forward with you to bring a dream into reality. And the other people chose to keep repeating an old pattern. And probably not listening to their intuition, letting their fear, so they didn't learn the lesson they were meant to learn. You know, we've all listened to our intuition and things didn't work out the way we wanted. Well, we see the truth of it. I don't know, not everybody who doesn't want to be in a relationship with us, some of them, they're more high vibe and learn more lessons than we did. And then we can feel betrayed and like, oh my gosh, now my dreams are over. No, they're a good role model. Well, that didn't work out. Oh, they are a loving, nurturing, supportive, encouraging person, and they're moving forward with those people. Well, I'm not going to keep staying in my ego about it. I believe that the divine has a different plan for my life. And there must be, God knows their truth, God knows my truth, and I'm going to keep moving forward. And other people went to try to get things to work, and it didn't work out, and then they just keep moving forward feeling betrayed. And then there comes times in our life where we have to take stock of, why am I moving forward the way I'm moving forward? What about the people I'm in relationships? Sometimes, if we're going to quit moving forward in one thing, we have to see the truth of it, and we have to get out of our own ego. And then sometimes it's like, no, I'm going to let that keep moving forward without me. And the people in my life who are treating me in a more just and fair way, or the people who I might meet as I keep standing up for myself in a way, other people come up the path of life that are more on the same page as me, and I don't want to be involved in something just to be involved in something. I want to be available for the opportunity when opportunities arise, but some people, they're so concerned about indulging themselves in a relationship. They don't listen to their intuition. They get in a relationship that they maybe shouldn't have gotten into to begin with. And then, they can feel stuck in it. And some people right now could feel upset and feel stuck in a relationship, but they're unwilling. You have to be willing to speak your truth and get out of your ego and reveal the truth if you want to go live your authentic life. And some people aren't willing to do it. And then some people are more shadowy. They never plan to live their life differently, and it's always trying to keep other people stuck with them. What's coming up for some people who harness some shadowy Sagittarius energy that they might not see coming? It has to do with this card not showing itself. And why? Because of the Death card. Well, the Death card can just be people aren't aligned with being inspired to give birth to anything new. And because they keep not wanting to look at life any differently, unwilling to get out of their ego, unwilling to get out of their defensiveness, other people end up moving away from them. And it could have been someone who at one time did want to work together with them, but not anymore. Because they didn't realize that some of the people they were working with harness this energy in a more high vibe way. And they thought they'd keep hiding from harnessing it in a high vibe way, because that's what they do. The Tower. The Tower is Scorpio, which is a Death card, and Aries. So if you're in a more shadowy Scorpio energy, which is kind of the Six of Cups I was talking about here, some people haven't reconciled themselves with issues from their past, so they're hiding, they operate from an unstable foundation. Or they hide that they are more superficial and shallow and operate from their ego. And they're really not motivated and inspired by love or haven't learned to love themselves. And they're going to have people in their life who are willing, the Tower talks about willing to see the truth. And some of the shadowy people reject that. I am unwilling to detach from this way of living life or viewing life. That is my truth, and I am unwilling to detach. If we were to harness the Death card in high vibe, we close out an old cycle of our life, and we love ourselves enough to move forward in life, but we have to get out of our ego to even be willing to deal with the truth. And some people are unwilling to get out of their ego. They would rather stay stuck in things they might not even want to stay in, just to prove a point. Well, I hope you enjoy your life, living your life like that. And because some people are unwilling just to be more independent, more of the world, of their ego, of other people in their life, they're going to have other people in their life that's like, I'm not staying stuck with you. If these things keep manipulating you, I wish you peace, but they don't manipulate me. Or at least they don't anymore. And I'm emotionally detaching from you. I'm not going to keep staying stuck, feeling backstabbed. If you're not motivated and inspired to move forward, having more hope and faith and belief in me, in love, then you're going to have to do this with someone else. And for some, it's really sad how some people, because some people, for how long can people keep wanting to bother people, right? But there's some people, that are mad that other people saw through the illusion. Shadowy Scorpio, Doesn't have to be a Scorpio sun sign, but some of you could have been dealing with narcissists. And they don't like that you saw the truth. So then it's like almost their game plan is to always try to do things to try to destabilize and hurt you, because that's someone who feels like, I'm the boss. I should be able to manipulate and control you. I have been able to manipulate and control many people in my life. I am the shining star. Your dreams won't come into reality without me. And so then they hide even getting in relationships with people. I might not even want to be in a relationship with you. I don't even like you. I don't even love you. But I am trying secretly to try to destabilize and backstab someone else. I am not in life-giving energy. I have an ulterior purpose for why I do what I do. Or I'm getting in a relationship for the status and the ego and the image. Just because I want someone else to keep feeling backstabbed, like their dreams aren't coming into reality and I control them. And high vibe people are like, you do what you want. I've moved on. And some of the people are also trying to hide the truth of why people moved on from them. They're not communicating to the people in their life that they probably could have had some loving people in their life, but because they tried to manipulate them, those people left. But they don't want to tell the truth, because then the other people might leave. The whole thing is, other people listen to their intuition, and if they're not telling them the truth, eventually the other people are like, if you're not willing to illuminate the truth, and I feel my intuition is telling me, you're not telling me the truth, I'm leaving. So, what is that phrase some people say? Well, the truth sets you free and a lie can endure forever. You know, people should get out of their ego and admit they're fallible human beings who made a mistake. I think other people can appreciate that. They're fallible human beings who've made mistakes. And the people who are willing to admit, I had lessons to learn, I had these issues that I could have dealt with, other people are willing to forgive them and believe they really have become independent of those things. And they are willing to both get out of their ego about it to, you know, work together again and be friends again or get in relationships again. So there you go, Sagittarius. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.